Hi everyone! Number 45 in the Queen 50 series. Moving quite close to the end, aren't we? Well, today's title is I'm Going Slightly Mad. And I'm Going Slightly Mad was written by Freddie Mercury, but credited to Queen, with uncredited lyrical contributions by Peter Straker. I don't very often see a non-Queen member being credited with contributions. It's happened once or twice along the way. The lyrics in the accompanying music video project the song as humorous and lighthearted, despite the lyrics dealing with the mental decline Mercury was experiencing as one of the effects of advancing AIDS. Well, classic Queen. They're going to put a positive twist on it some way, somehow. Let's see how it goes.
When the outside temperature rises and the meaning is oh so clear, 1001 yellow daffodils begin to dance in front of you, oh dear.
Oh dear.
Are they trying to tell you something? You're missing that one final screw. You're simply not in the pink, my dear. To be honest, you haven't got a clue. I'm going slightly mad. I'm going slightly mad. It finally happened. It finally happened. Whoa, it finally happened. I'm slightly mad. Oh dear. I'm one card short of a full deck. I'm not quite the shilling. One wave short of a shipwreck. I'm not my usual top billing. I'm coming down with a fever. I'm really out to sea. This kettle is boiling over. I think I'm a banana tree. Oh dear. I'm going slightly mad. I'm going slightly mad. It finally happened. Finally happened. Finally happened. I'm slightly mad.
Okay, that guitar solo just adds the icing on the cake. It is... I'll end up going back through and stopping multiple times, which is one reason I'm just going straight now. But these lines are so full of colorful, picturesque, imaginative ways of expressing even this, I think I'm a banana tree. That must have been inspired, at least inspired by his Jamaican poet friend, because, yeah, bananas. You know, the expression, I'm going bananas, or he went bananas. I think I'm a banana tree. What a play with those words. But then this guitar solo. we feel like we're slipping and sliding and not quite keeping our footing, as if we're driving around a corner and sliding off the road a little bit. This idea of going slightly mad, slightly, because of course it must be a bit of an understatement. I'm going slightly mad, a little bit polished there. I'm going slightly mad. Anyway, this is great. Let's keep going.
I'm knitting with only one needle, unraveling fast, it's true. I'm driving only 3 wheels these days, but my dear, how about you? I'm going slightly mad, I'm going slightly mad. It finally happened. It finally happened. Oh yes, it finally happened. I'm slightly mad, just very slightly mad. And there you have it.
And there you have it.
And there you have it. Okay, this is great fun. Tragically, but still great fun. Let's go back. I'm going to go through and kind of tear it down as we go. Comment. Enjoy. This first little figure, dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. Of course, I didn't know it when I first heard it opening, and I thought, okay, that's interesting. It's kind of a catchy little dee-dum, dee-dum, basically chord-based notes. Dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. But it turns out that it features throughout the entire piece, and partway through the piece, I started feeling like this is almost getting a bit hypnotic, and almost like I feel like, and maybe it's because I am a fairly young mom in terms of being a mom, and the loss of sleep that I have experienced in the past year plus a few months is really quite an experience in itself. And some days the feeling of, okay, I'm here. I know that I need to get my brain in gear, and it takes a lot of effort to just get it to focus, and I can easily just be staring dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. What am I supposed to be doing? I'm just completely out of it, and I can't even get normal sentences to come out of my mouth sometimes, and I forget the most random and embarrassing basic things like names, and it's a challenge sometimes. Well, okay, it's a phase that will come and go for me, right? But because of that fairly recent experience, I can feel that this music is kind of projecting that quality of, I just can't get my brain to quite function the way I know it should, and I know that it's capable of, but it just won't. Something is not there. I'm missing a wheel. I'm slightly mad or something, right? And I suppose that may be a bit of what Freddie was experiencing. But this simple little dee-dum, 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 it it's this short fragment, as if you can't get more than a fragment functioning in your brain at once, or get more than a fragment of a sentence out, or you remember a word, but you can't think of it. You know that it had a certain number of syllables or a certain number of vowels, or it had an E in it, or it ended with a T. But what is that word anyway? And and that fragmented, kind of spaced out, dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. At the same time, it is a bit humorous, isn't it? We can imagine almost a little animated video or cartoon-style video, and I haven't seen the video, I don't know what it is, but I can imagine some little creature, dee-dum, 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 looking really stupid as it's staring around and being rather abstract. So, not a bad riff to set the tone of this entire piece of music. And the guitar comes in here. As each of these instruments come in, it all sounds slightly underwater, or a little bit hazy, a little bit warped, as if you're looking through heat waves and everything is not quite. Is this a mirage? Is this real? Am I really, really able to believe what I'm seeing? Or am I somehow not seeing right?
When the outside temperature rises and the meaning is oh so clear, 1001 yellow daffodils.
Oh, this. You know, there's a poem that I love. I wandered lonely as a cloud. And it goes on to talk about seeing daffodils everywhere, daffodils. And somehow this 1001 yellow daffodils begin to dance in front of you. And this poem talks about later on, as I was laying on my couch with my eyes closed, these daffodils were dancing in front of my eyes. I don't know if this is a reference to that poem. If somehow he had it in the back of my mind. It's a fairly well-known poem, and I don't know how it features in the British education system. It's more like a grade school bit of poetry, but still it's absolutely charming. But somehow it recalls that whole poem of, I'm seeing fields and clouds of daffodils, and am I looking at them, or am I now dreaming about them? And of course, this is set in a different context, when the outside temperature rises and the meaning is oh so clear. Well, I didn't notice till just now. This idea of looking through heat waves, right? It's getting hot outside. My mind is not functioning. Is this a heat stroke? Is this all I'm seeing is daffodils dancing in front of my eyes? Oh dear.
When the outside temperature rises and the meaning is oh so clear, 1001 yellow daffodils begin to dance in front of you, oh dear. Are they trying to tell you something? You're missing that one final screw. You're simply not in the pink, my dear. To be honest, you haven't got a clue.
This is a great example of using standard turns of phrase and cliche expressions, idioms of speech. And suddenly they come alive again. To be honest, how many times do we hear to be honest? And we feel like, all right, do Do I really need to hear you say that again? To be honest. You haven't got a clue. How old is that one? You haven't got a clue. He's missing a screw. You're missing that one final screw. You're simply not in the pink, my dear. Well, that's not such an American expression. It's probably more British, I don't know, or at least old-fashioned. It doesn't belong in this 21st century everyday way of speaking, but it also has that feeling of a common idiom. And they just come alive here. Simply by reciting each one after the other and setting it here, I feel like, oh, yeah, that almost feels fresh.
To be honest, you haven't got a clue. I'm going slightly mad. I'm going.
This reminds me, for some reason, and his voice in this song is sounding different than most of what I've heard him do before. It's not so dramatic and over the top. Neither is it hard rock. Neither is it a love of my life ballad style. It's a bit more subdued. There's a warmth to it. It reminds me of Frank Sinatra almost in this sort of kind of romanticized social expression. If there were piano behind it instead of the other instruments, I could perfectly imagine Frank Sinatra singing it instead of Freddie. And a little bit later in the piece, I'll tell you when it comes, if I remember, I suddenly began to think of another Queen piece. And you might be shocked because I didn't expect. They're so far apart from each other. But something about the mannerisms expressed in this song and the whole quality of it. If you're taking it non-seriously, as they chose to express it, it makes me think of Killer Queen. Because it's that same style of, I'm very stylish and I'm lounging here with my everything around me, and I'm in my fancy outfit, and I'm just lounging here, and I'm sipping my little drink, champagne, and I'm going slightly mad, and I don't care. This is rather a stylish thing to do, isn't it? It has that quality to it. Funny to think of pairing it with Killer Queen, but I think it could work really well.
I'm going slightly mad.
Slightly?
It finally happened. It finally happened.
Okay, and this moment, it finally happened. There was a Beatles piece of music that it was the one in which they used the volume pedal for the first time. What was the title of that one? And they used a very simple little figure, kind of like this. And I commented about how they wove it throughout the piece and used it so strategically. The piece wouldn't exist without it. And this is not quite so reliant on the dee-dum, dee-dum. We could put a different accompaniment behind it, and the melody would still continue. But this is a nice little moment here where it finally happened, just like that little dee-dum, dee-dum. And you hear it suddenly falling into place, both of them at the same time. Great little musical moment of everything coming together just for a second before we space out again and lose our bearings. In other words, we're not completely gone. it's an effort, and there are only a few times where we feel like everything comes together and organizes itself in our mind.
It finally happened. It finally happened. Whoa. It finally
Now it's off sync. It's out of sync again.
I'm slightly mad. Oh dear.
Oh dear. And the laughter, and the little chimes, and everything swirling around. Oh dear, here it comes again. Ah, and I'm just lost it. And the laughter, almost as if we're in a madhouse, like all the crazies around us laughing, or at least we feel like we're going crazy like that. Such a well put together. Do you notice how this is not a really flamboyant or forcefully expressive piece of music? I might call it more restrained, more subtle, perhaps even a bit under the weather. There's a subdued quality, as if we just can't quite rouse ourselves. And even the range of the notes, Freddie never goes really high or really rises out of this malaise. Very often, a verse is written and then the chorus expands on it or changes quality. If your verse is subdued, the chorus might be brighter and more upbeat, or vice versa. But here, it all kind of sways and flows together and keeps the same state of not particularly energetically focused. When we get to I'm going slightly, we've dropped down a bit. Instead of I'm going slightly mad, you can imagine Freddie doing something like that, right? He could have taken this chorus, this refrain, and really dramatized it. But no, I'm going slightly mad, down and back up, as if he just can't get himself up and out of this condition.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
I'm one card short of a full deck. I'm not
I think
quite
this
the
is
ship.
a great set of lyrics here.
One wave short of a shipwreck. I'm not my usual top billing.
Again, it's the understatement. I'm one card short of a full deck. I'm not quite the shilling. One wave short of a shipwreck. I'm not my usual top billing. It's like I'm not saying I don't have a full deck of cards. I'm without a full deck of cards. I don't have enough. I don't have enough. The shipwreck, the ship is going to sink in one more wave. No. One wave short of a shipwreck. One wave short. Just, that's how it goes. And then it gets a little bit more dramatic.
I'm not my usual top billing.
Because now,
Coming down with a fever. I'm really out to sea.
really out to sea.
This kettle is boiling over.
Finally something is actually happening. This verse is a little bit more assertive and proactive, right? Rather than one card short, not quite, not my usual. It's now saying, I'm coming down with a fever. I'm really out to sea. This kettle is boiling over. I think I'm a banana tree. I've gone completely bananas.
Really out to sea. This kettle is boiling over. I think I'm a banana tree. Oh dear.
notice that the music is still pretty much the same. There's not a lot developing or growing or happening. We don't hear the bass doing something that really catches our ears. The drums don't really catch our ears either. It's just chick, 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 chick. The keyboard synthesizer, da-dum, da-dum, or dee 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 dee. Where have we heard that before? Dee 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 dee. We hear it in here, just a little hint.
This kettle is boiling over. I think I'm the banana tree. Oh dear.
Da 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 dee 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 dee. Where have you heard that before? I'm putting Vlad on the spot behind the camera. This sort of, same sort of synth type. Pink Floyd, The Wall.
Okay. Same psychedelic.
Same psychedelic, of course, and it's just a musical figure. I don't think that it would be considered. I couldn't say. I wouldn't dare suggest that it was intentionally borrowed from there. But you still have that same sort of psychedelic, spaced out, unfocused, in other words, gone slightly mad, lost my bearings.
I think I'm the banana tree. Oh dear.
It's really clear here. It's comfortably numb that has that figure, and I did a whole in-depth about it. So again, I'm not saying that he borrowed it from there, but listen to the similarity.
This kettle is boiling over. I think I'm the banana tree. I'm going.
You hear it, right?
I'm going slightly.
Oh, and this here, suddenly, I'm going. There's this sort of echo and we don't know. Is this happening in our mind? Are we saying things? Are we actually able to place ourselves and keep track of what is reality versus what is imagined in our minds? It's almost as if we're feeling our head start to imagine things. We can't keep track of reality here.
Going slightly mad. I'm going slightly mad. It finally happened. Finally happened.
And then of course, it finally happened. The way he sings that with a bit of expression and almost satisfaction, as if this is kind of the humor part of it coming out. It finally happened, as if we wanted this to happen, as if we were waiting for this to happen. This is something to celebrate. It finally, there's a bit of a pleasure to it.
It finally happened.
Here, coming in.
Finally happened. Finally happened. I'm slightly mad.
There's almost a victory in it. And then the guitar solo. And things warp and we slide off the track, and now we're over here. Sliding around. Oh, over there. And now we're kind of losing it again. And we're really sliding down. And then again, these Fabulous lyrics. I'm knitting with only one needle. Speaking of one needle, you can't knit with one needle. It's going to unravel. I once had dreams of becoming an accomplished knitter. Never happened. I did try my hand at it a few times.
I'm knitting with only one needle, unraveling fast.
Unraveling. There goes the thread. Yarn.
I'm knitting with only one needle, unraveling fast. It's true.
It's true.
I'm driving only 3 wheels.
Only 3 wheels, and this is not a tricycle. This is not a tricycle. This is supposed to be 4 wheels. One is missing.
I'm driving only 3 wheels these days. But my dear, how about you?
And this was the line that made me think, Killer Queen, of course. Killer Queen, of course. Because, okay, I'm indulging myself in all this recitation, but really I'm just making conversation. And you know, we're being rather sophisticated in our... sophisticatedly out of it here. Satisfactorily. It's stylish to be this way. And my dear, how about you? Tell me about yourself. And it's that feeling of, oh, this wasn't serious. This is just us passing the time with our champagne or
Driving only 3 wheels these days. But my dear, how about you?
how about you? Here you hear that. I'm going slightly mad.
I'm going slightly mad.
Slightly.
It finally happened.
And you hear the guitars swirl around. Isn't it nice the way the contour of the phrase puts an emphasis here or there? I'm going slightly mad. We feel the emphasis on I and mad. I'm going slightly mad. And we kind of fall down and back up. I'm going slightly mad. That's the emphasis on slightly. Slightly. I'm going slightly mad. And so it puts our attention, our focus on this particular word in the line or that one, and makes us think, oh, it could be this or oh, this is it.
I'm going slightly mad. It finally
Whew,
happened.
whew.
It finally happened. Oh yes, it finally happened.
Another great example. It finally happened.
I'm going slightly mad.
Here it comes.
It finally happened.
It finally happened. It finally happened. And then?
It finally happened.
It finally happened. And then?
Oh yes, it finally happened.
It finally happened. Just by putting a little emphasis here or there. Stretch that one. Put that one a little bit higher in pitch. Don't go all crazy everywhere. No. This needs to stay subdued because his voice is the embodiment of this state of being. It is the embodiment of this entire story and condition. So you wouldn't want it to go too dramatic. You wouldn't want it to become too focused or directed. But still, you can do an incredible amount in a very contained space. And this is a great example of that, the way just a small shift as you repeat the line changes it.
Oh yes, it finally happened. I'm slightly mad.
Slightly mad.
Just very slightly mad.
Just very slightly mad.
And there you have it.
And there you have it. Dee 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 And there you have it. Okay, done. What a great, tragic, but humorous and incredibly apt expression of somebody feeling this way. I can relate to it. As I said, being sleep deprived, you feel a bit like this sometimes. And I think probably any one of us can relate to it at some point in our life experience, because we all have those moments where we're just not quite all there. But knowing that this came from Freddie's own experience as he felt his health and his physical capacity and mental capacity to begin to decline, it really puts a tragic veil over the entire piece, as if it's yet one more bit of his personal life. And as I've gone, you've seen, as I've gone through this series from number 1 all the way to number 45 now, I have become quite attached to Queen the band and Freddie as well as a singer, as a personality. And although I have not spent a lot of time watching him perform yet, a few times along the way, I don't need to in order to revel in the personality that he was and the life that he brought to the music, to the world, essentially. And I'm feeling sad that we're coming this close to the end, because this whole journey, the stated purpose of it, was to experience and explore the great versatility and variety within Queen's work. I've seen that. I've enjoyed it. And I know there are a bunch more really great Queen songs for me to enjoy in the future, which I haven't touched in this series yet. But once more, we get to see and enjoy in this piece of music a different side of Queen's output, a different shade, a different manner of expression, more subdued, still classically Queen. And this is towards the end of what they were able to put out with Freddie, and I know that it's a kind of the other half of their stylistic output where not everybody loved it, but I still love the life and the color and the personality and the brilliant, touching and colorful expressions and emotion that comes through the music. And I do love the way they take even the most tragic of circumstances and put some bit of fun in it, a little twist of humor. Take it with a grain of salt and play with it, because what else are we going to do? It makes no sense to sit down and die before we have to, so let's make the most of it. A great piece, a lot of fun. Let's see what comes next.